Hey guys, what's going on? Scow's here, along with my best bud Shadow, and then we have Nate down below. What's going on, guys? How we doing? All right.
I'm still coming off an adrenaline rush of Extreme Rules, man.
Still riding the high, man. That was a wild, wild night.
Uh, I did get scared at the end. I was getting scared.
Yeah.
I think everybody was.
We can save that for last if we want to, if we really want to.
Yeah, let's save that, but I mean, they did one final NXT call up. It was the logo in the corner call up, has been pointed out by numerous people.
Yep. Savage.
So we're gonna go over our review of Extreme Rules from last night. I figure the best way to do it is to go into the match order. So this way we'll just flow with it and we'll go from there. So we're gonna start with the 6-man, the good old-fashioned Donnybrook. And you guys want to start?
That was an absolute banger. Like, holy, you want to talk about a good old-fashioned beatdown? Holy shit, like it just went everywhere. And everybody was doing everything, and it wasn't spot-filled, but it was hard-hitting action, and I loved every minute of it.
Oh, it was just a brawl the whole time. Just boom, 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 fists flying, bodies flying, and it was everything it needed to be and then some.
It was the perfect way to open the show.
Oh yeah, great way. And I think the right team went over. They also made it so that Gunther still looked strong. It took all three of them putting him through a table to take him out of commission for that match. So I think he still looks great.
And he didn't eat the pin.
What's that?
I said he didn't eat the pin either. So
No, it was Vici, wasn't it?
it was.
Yeah, and so like I think this sets Sheamus up for one more shot at the IC title. And I think he gets it.
Absolutely. I really thought he was going to get it on Friday night.
I did too.
And I thought Imperial would have won last night, but I ended up switching my picks on Saturday after Sheamus lost. Because he wasn't going to take 2 losses in a row. They weren't doing it that way.
No. And this feud has been good enough. It's been going on for a couple months now. It started with both of the teams as heels, and now the Brawling Brutes are suddenly one of the most over babyface factions we've had in a while.
I can't believe it. Like
the crowd is 100% behind them.
And hopefully we get I mean, I'm okay with it being Butch and everything, but I'd really like him to go back to being Pete Dunne.
Right.
It's coming.
Just with the fighting style.
I mean, the thing he did last night, he did the thing of Gunther's fingers.
Right.
Those two put on some banger one-on-ones back in NXT UK.
It's definitely coming.
Right.
He's been teasing it. He's been doing a lot of the moves. He's wearing the same gear that he would as Pete Dunne. So it is coming. I mean, look what they just did with Max Dupree, and now he's back to LA Knight.
And the crowd popped huge when he said that too.
Everybody hated the name when he first debuted, but he made the name matter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate the LA Knight name. I thought you were talking about the Max Dupree name. I hate that.
No.
I don't hate the LA Knight name.
A lot of people didn't like it at the beginning because they felt like it was basic, like LA Knight. Like, it just didn't seem, but he played, like, he's so good.
He's good enough to, like, set it apart. And, like, he's good enough to make it work. He's entertaining.
What I liked about the Donnybrook is they broke the LED screen right near the beginning of it, like, so, and it was still working. It worked through the entire match. It just that match was just so good to start the night. It just made everything.
And I did have some friends who were in the arena. Shadow, we both had some friends who were in the arena. They said that the White Rabbit thing did not happen in the arena. It only happened on TV. And the announcers...
Yeah, they didn't see
I don't think the announcers knew what happened either, because they didn't say anything.
Really? Because I saw a video, unless that was from Friday night, that they showed it on the Titantron.
That was from Friday night, because we got confirmation that at Extreme Rules, what you seen during the Brawling Brutes entrance was not in arena.
Oh, nice. I
Kind
did.
of like the Smackdown I was at a couple weeks ago. The Baron Corbin segment with JBL. We didn't see that. That didn't happen on the Titantron or anything when we were there. So I
Oh,
don't even know what happened.
with Corbin getting to the
JBL
limo.
limo, yeah. So we had heard rumors that JBL was supposed to be on SmackDown that night.
Mm-hmm.
So we were looking out for him. That segment did not air at the arena whatsoever.
That's interesting because normally you get extra stuff at the arena, not on TV.
But no, it's because I think it's because they filmed 2 episodes back to back, so they did it really quickly.
That is very true. They did. That was the week you were there where they did the double.
I mean, it took them 3 hours and 15 minutes to film 2 shows.
Oh, it's not bad. It's pretty decent actually.
Yeah.
So first match of the night, 5 out of 5 for me.
I'm gonna give it a 4.75.
I would say I would say a 4.75 also, just because I don't think it's quite on the level of the first one-on-one match we got between Sheamus and Gunther. That was a bona fide 5-star match. We can all agree with that, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple moments where it was like not as fast paced as it. I don't know how to describe it really. It just felt kind of lacking a little bit in some points, but I really have nothing to complain about that match. It was electric. It got the crowd going right from the get go. The right team won. Great way to start off in Philly with a good old fashioned slugfest.
I feel like it was a little slow moving at points. And that was a tough crowd in Philly. Like throughout the night, after this match, like they kind of died down for a bit. And I don't know if that's because of the match that was up next, but I felt like this crowd there were moments where it felt like they were dead, like you could hear crickets.
Right. I think they got a little restless with the White Rabbit thing because again they didn't see anything about it in the arena, so I think that's what it was. I think they were just getting restless.
I mean, they got word searches that like gave it away.
Not
only that, Mr. Tesh, aka Steve from Straight Shoot Podcast, mentioned to us that there was stuff in the bathrooms at the arena and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was.
We didn't see at home.
There was apparently QR codes all over the place, but they didn't work. That was the thing. Like it was just like teasing.
Right. No, I don't think any of them worked. Like the ones on the flyers didn't work. Nothing.
But heading into the next match, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship, Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. So the only thing I didn't like about this match, like it was a decent match. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I feel like Ronda still needs a lot of work. Like I felt like she messed up and it made Liv look bad. Like Liv was the one trying to do everything, and Ronda kept messing up how to take the moves, and it just made Liv look.
A lot of those bat shots that she was doing looked really dumb and weak.
Like she kept going after Liv's ass.
Why were we focusing on Liv's ass?
Right. I mean,
was it a spank me daddy situation? I don't get it.
I was not happy with the winner. I thought Liv was going to retain because I thought the other title might have changed hands. Like that's the way that it played out in my mind. Like I felt that would have been the better solution. But
I'm okay with the winner.
I'm okay if it leads to something.
I don't hate the Ronda Rousey victory. We did get exactly what we wanted out of this. Liv Morgan looked like a warrior in that match because she didn't give up. She passed out.
And she was smiling as she did it.
Yeah. And the match didn't light up the world or anything like that, but it exceeded my expectations. I will say that. It wasn't a 5-star classic. It might not be something that we talk about a year or two down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, it was great for what it was. It was more than what I expected from it. My only issue is Liv and Ronda, while they're not bad workers, I think they tend to be a little bit more methodical in their approach, so like more deliberate. They're not really fluid, so they need someone else in the ring with them who is fluid. So like Liv got her best match of her career with Becky Lynch. Ronda got her best matches out of Becky Lynch, out of Charlotte, people who are fluid in the ring that help make them look better. So while I don't think, I just think their styles clash together was not great. They don't have great chemistry. But the match did exceed my expectations. They didn't try to wrestle; they fought, and I think that's what they needed to do. And yeah,
Right.
I would have retained also, but I'm okay with Ronda Rousey winning as long as it leads to something bigger, like you were saying. So
I'm also okay with the fact that they utilized like weaponry and stuff like that in the match as well. Like
oh
it
yeah,
wasn't just a straight up tossing around fight. It was a few good spots, if you will,
right.
but
And
still
those
very awkward with that thing.
right. And Ronda using her black belt was different. I liked that. Um,
I was paying homage to her trainer, who
Hmm.
just
mhm.
has his
And
memorial today, I believe.
and those black belts are actually pretty heavy. If she whips it right, they're a very usable weapon. So it's believable.
I liked Liv doing the seated senton off the top rope. She executed that
Oh
pretty
yeah.
well.
Yep.
Um, and it was just a lot of like I like the fact that she didn't give up. Like she didn't tap. You didn't see her tap. She passed
Right. She
out.
just passed out. She looked like a warrior.
So I'm gonna give this match a 3, a solid 3. It probably would have been higher for me if Liv would have retained.
I could agree with a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
And then we're gonna
Yeah.
come to the last match from SmackDown, the strap match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Nate, you look like you want to start on this one.
Oh,
My expectations for this one were much higher than they were for most of the other matches on the card, with the possible exception of the Donnybrook match. My expectations for this match were that these two were going to beat the hell out of each other and really light the crowd up. They didn't do that at all. That match was really every spot that you've ever seen in a strap match was used repeatedly, and I understand that. Yes, it's they're kind of chained by the no pun intended, by the stipulation, but I don't know. I expected more out of it. It didn't really light up the world for me, and the idea of Cross winning is okay with me. I do think Cross was the right guy to go over here. However, it didn't. The mace didn't make sense to me. That I didn't like that at all. Even with Scarlett's character, I don't think mace works. I think they could have done something completely different to get to where they wanted to go. But hopefully they have more matches. I know that they're capable of more, so I'm not too upset about it. It was just kind of a bummer match on an otherwise great show.
So
yeah, I wasn't too fond of the ending of this match. The match itself, uh, I want to say it was good, but there was so many situations where it felt it got slowed down a lot, and there was no reason to slow it down. And I'm not sure if that's Drew's side or Carrion's side, or that's just them pacing the card.
I hate to
But
say it, but I think
to
it's
me, there
Karrion
was
Cross's way of working.
right, and like he's a strong worker, but I don't think that was the approach for this. I think you could have had another stipulation instead of the strap match, and it would have worked. Because
Right.
even in the beginning, Arian did not look interested in that whole. Like, I probably part of the story and all, but he didn't look amused with the fact that they were in a strap situation.
Right.
And like hearing the ref come over to Drew and be like, "You need medical," that was just over the board for me. Like, I don't think that was necessary.
Right.
Like, yeah, he got his shoulder rammed into a pole. We've seen it. Nobody goes over and asks them if they need it. Overall, I'm not quite over on this match as I thought I would be, and the ending made absolute no sense.
so I think that it would have been a lot different, the ending at least, if they didn't screw up on the fireball a few weeks ago. Because I think that's what was supposed to happen instead of the mace. I think she was supposed to shoot a fireball at him, and that would have continued what happened then. But because it missed, and they had to improvise everything, I think it changed how they didn't want to take the chance again of it missing.
Right. However, the risk. I mean, I guess the risk was high, but the payoff would have also been high.
Right.
Because had she done it and it worked that time, they could have played it off like, oh, she was just trying to screw with you the last time. This time, she actually threw a fireball at your face.
Right. Nah, I think they were just afraid that she would have messed up twice in a row.
Yeah, I still think they could have done something else, like a smoke bomb or something, or like not the fire extinguisher because that doesn't work either. But I don't
No,
know.
I think
There's something.
there absolutely could have been.
Better.
There could have been different spots on it. Overall, I thought it was a good match. They both are slow workers. Like that's their pace.
Right.
But Drew can go faster based off of his opponent.
Yes,
I don't think
Carrion
Karrion can, but it's also because Karrion's a slow worker. It just that's how they came across.
Right.
I thought it was a very brutal match. But I would have preferred if Cross squashed him. To give Cross.
It looked like it was going to go that way for a second, but
Right.
then he had his, the typical babyface comeback.
Correct. And they shouldn't have done it. If
No,
they would have had Cross
can't
squash him for 10, like a 7-minute squash, it would have made Cross so much more over than what he is.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense. And by having Drew get his moment and doing all the other stuff, I think it prolonged it, and it just wasn't good enough for me.
I don't think having Cross squash Drew is a smart thing. We're not dumb fans, and if you're gonna watch a guy, granted we know what Cross is capable of, but squashing Drew, who's the #1 contender, doesn't make your booking in the last month and a half look good.
But he's beating him down at every corner.
Well,
Every
that's
time they fought, so just continue that, and then when Drew beats him, it's going to be a bigger moment for Drew, because now you've already built Cross up, and Cross has been like like he couldn't conquer him, so to speak. He's been getting beat up every turn, and then he just squashed him in 7 minutes. So when they fought again, it would have made more sense. That's just.
I appreciate Drew's work, but I'm tired of seeing him.
And this could have been a way also to get him back into the mid card, to go for the Intercontinental title. And this would have elevated Cross into the main event.
You say you're tired of seeing Drew?
A little bit.
I guess I could see that.
It's not that it's not like his body of work is bad. It's just I feel like we're having all these returns. We have superstars that are actually getting TV time now, and then we have Drew kind of sitting there, constantly going at Reigns. It's almost, I want to say Brock Lesnar-esque, but it's not at that level.
Well, I mean, we could talk this into the ground. The fact of the matter is, they should have capitalized at Clash at the Castle, and they didn't.
I think what they could have done in order to protect Roman too, because if you didn't want to take the belt off Roman, you easily could have had Drew win your disqualification, at least get the win, but not the belt. Like I would have been okay with that.
And Solo could have interfered and caused a DQ.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to see Drew in the title picture for a while. And this would
Continue, sorry.
this would have been a way to elevate Cross into the title picture.
I don't know if Cross is at that level yet, honestly. I mean,
Well,
no disrespect to the guy. He's a great worker, but his character just isn't hitting right now for me. Not the way it should. I like Karrion Kross. I like that Scarlett is back with him, but I still think he's facing an uphill battle right here.
And that's why I'm saying if he squashed him, it would have helped him.
It would have gone a long way. You're right.
My overall on the card is a 3 for that match.
I'm giving it a 2.75.
Man, I feel like a dick. I was thinking like a 2.
I mean, we all have our opinions, right?
That match just didn't do it for me, and I like both of those guys as workers. I love Drew McIntyre. I like Karrion Kross. I didn't like Karrion Kross the first time around, but this time around, the presentation is really good. So he needs to look stronger than he has.
That's fair.
Now we're gonna move over
Now
to
we
the
headed-
Raw side. What are we gonna talk about, Cheddar?
I was gonna say now we head into the women's championship match.
Okay. The ladder match.
Yeah, where do I even start with this? Because I'm not gonna call it a botch because there weren't botch moments, but there was a lot of moments where you're like, "What the are they doing?" One is the barricade ladder spot, which absolutely looked atrocious.
Yeah.
It didn't. It either Bailey undershot it or something, but it didn't look good. Bailey taking that sign from the fan. I get why heel move, but like there was no place for it at that point. Bianca, what did she call her finisher again?
KOD.
KODing both Dakota Kai and Io Sky was just stupid. Like, how are you gonna have Bianca do this alone? Is my point. I said to Scals, because you had said this to me last night, is that she's becoming, and I'm sure you're going to touch on this in a second, she is becoming the John Cena of the women's division.
And yeah, I'll piggyback off that a little bit too, because I've been a big supporter of Damage Control since they showed up. Dakota Kai and Io Sky are elite workers. Bailey is one of the best workers in the world. Bailey can make anything work. You remember 6 years ago, we would have never thought Bailey as a heel, ever. And now she is arguably the best heel in the women's division. Like, top 2 or 3, if we're being completely unbiased. Her promo on Friday night proves that she can cut a good promo. She cut Monday, on Raw. She cut an incredible promo during that contract signing. When she got cut off by Bianca, the crowd booed because she was going off, and they were pissed because she didn't get the finish.
Yeah, that was her best promo since she's been back.
To have it set up as a ladder match, for one, the match itself, it wasn't a bad match. I appreciate the dedication to trying to make creative ladder spots. Some of them didn't hit well, like the one on the barricade. That one was bad. That KOD spot took 2.5 minutes to set up. Credit to Io Sky, though, for maintaining her balance and being able to adjust. I will give Io Sky all the credit in the world for that. She saved that spot. The KOD with the ladder, I thought was incredible. I thought it landed. I thought Bailey actually knocked her teeth out. It looked that good. But as a big supporter of Damage Control, what reason do I have to think that they're a threat anymore? Like, Bianca Belair dispatched of all 3 of them in like 2 minutes. And we're supposed to buy into them as this big dominant faction that's come in. They looked like total chumps. So the booking in that the match was really overbooked, and it was just flawed from top to bottom. It wasn't a bad match, it was just a horribly booked match, if that makes sense.
I really wonder who produced that match.
Oh, I saw who produced that. Hold on.
I know it wasn't Tyson Kidd. He wouldn't have been that. He wouldn't have done that.
I can check in 1 second.
I feel like it's a Curtis Axel booking just from the way it looks.
No, I don't think he's did any in this show.
Oh my god!
Axel's actually not producing anymore. I think he's gone.
If it's Jason Jordan, fuck.
That makes sense if it's Jason Jordan.
No, that was Petey Williams.
Of course it was.
So Abyss.
I'm just.
Since we're talking about the producers, Abyss produced the 6-man tag. Tyson Kidd produced Ronda and Liv. Michael Hayes.
That match was better than expected.
Michael Hayes produced the strap match.
Man, that's a rare L for Michael Hayes.
Well, it's probably because, like I said, they cross work slow. He's like a slow worker, so they might not work well together in a match.
Who produced the 6-man tag, did you say?
Abyss.
That makes sense.
Who do you think produced the I Quit match?
Tyson.
No.
No, they only produced everybody only produced one match.
Oh.
So it's nobody that I said already.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Road Dogg?
No. Shadow.
Sean.
Jamie Noble.
Wow.
Jamie, my boy.
That now explains the nuclear heat at the end.
And then
we'll get into that match in a second too, because I have some stuff to say about that match.
and the Fight Pit. Who do you think produced that one?
Oh God, Jason Jordan, if he's still there.
No, he's still there, but he didn't produce anything from this show.
Night? Okay. I wouldn't know then.
Any thoughts, Shadow?
Finley?
Adam Pearce.
That,
So, I mean, Adam Pearce produced, what did he produce last week? There was something else he produced last week that I thought was the same thing, like it was weird.
So, he seems to be completely out of his authority role that he had.
Well, he was injured. He was supposedly injured. Remember, he got taken out by Ronda. So
That segment was electric. That segment was awesome. That was at the Smackdown I was at, and Ronda's promo was fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, she ripped into him, and his was fantastic too. So I really hope he ends up coming back, because I do like him in that role.
Yeah, I think he is, because he said on the other day on Twitter, he's like, it's time for me to come back. So I could see him being there tomorrow night.
I hope so. If not on Friday, to deal with Ronda somehow.
My thoughts on this match, I agree with everything you said, Nate. There's no way you should have one person take out three people that quickly.
John Cena and the Nexus, anyone?
Like, I don't... Bianca's time at the top should be done.
Right, and especially these world-renowned performers. They weren't rookies from NXT like Nexus was. So at least there was that argument. These are not rookies. These women have wrestled all over the world, and it angers me.
Like I said, I thought the other title was going to retain, and this one was going to be the one changing hands.
Right, and I do think the wrong person won. I will also say that in terms of the wrestling in the match, I'd say it was a good 3.5 stars, but the booking gives like a solid 1.
Yeah, this
is very questionable.
This match was... I'm going to give it like a 3.25, which is being generous. Mm-hmm. And that's partly because of the KOD that won it. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, that KOD was... we were concerned for Bayley's health.
Yeah.
And every time Bayley falls from a tall height, though, I'm worried for her knee. I don't know how strong her knee is.
Right.
But like, that KOD was just beautiful.
But, so, there's certain spots that made me give it a 3.25. But I feel Bayley needs, they need to build damage control up, and they just keep knocking it down.
Yeah.
The build, 3.5. The match, 2.
I can see it.
Now we're going to move on to the I Quit match between Edge and Finn Balor. It started off very slow, and it was annoying as hell that the ref kept asking every single time one move was done. Like, stop sticking the mic in their faces. Right. Let them tell you to ask if the person is quitting. not just doing it automatically. That took away from what the match could have been. And then when they started doing that, because I think someone told him, stop putting the mic, the match changed. Because it allowed for a better flow.
Yep.
And then when they got back in the ring, and then Judgment Day came out, it just went off. I was at the edge of my seat the entire time, and I was so into this match for that last 10 minutes, and then the aftermath, it just... This was the proper place to put this match, because you couldn't have what happened after the main event happen after this because of everything that happened.
Right.
So I was very, very satisfied with where they put this match and how this match was.
Right. And so...
As it was go ahead.
Go ahead.
As it was pointed out to myself and Nate last night, early this morning, if you will, that we had called the way it would end on when we were doing our predictions. And, I mean, maybe we did, but I don't think we projected it to go the way it did. Not in the sense of her with Rhea, concertoing Beth. I did not expect Beth to really get in there and do that spot, but holy hell, if you needed Judgment Day to go over with nuclear heat, that is the way to go. Because holding Edge back the way they did and just force him to submit, for one, and then just go ahead and be like, well, fuck you, we're doing it anyway. It was just...
I'm sitting there in the Discord. I'm watching. I was like, he says, I go, do it! Like, I wanted it to happen. And then I was so glad when she did.
So, like, if we're going from a story perspective, from a storytelling perspective, this match is 5 stars across the board. They did callbacks to earlier things in the feud, like Dominic getting low blowed, and then Rhea Ripley. That's so... Our buddy Tyler and Prince, who were at the show, I asked him this question. When Rhea and Beth had that stare down and then started throwing haymakers, I asked, how loud did it get? Because it sounded like it hadn't been that loud all night. And he goes, dude, it was deafening. I'm like, that's what I thought. And he said it was as loud as it had been up to that point that night. That was the loudest. And it makes me think, because Beth can clearly still go in the ring. For the last couple times she's been in the ring, she's been good. Been very good. I think there's an obvious Rhea versus Beth match on the horizon. I can't fucking wait for that. I also think that the way that this match was booked, kudos to Jamie Noble, because Judgment Day is finally a legitimate heel faction. And they looked amazing. They needed that booking. They needed this victory. And they did it in a very similar way that Seth Rollins got nuclear heat with Edge back in the day by threatening to break his neck. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And nuclear heat for Seth Rollins. I think that segment put Rollins on a completely different level. This does the same for Judgment Day.
That was what? That was... Oh, that...
The beginning of 2015. It was after Survivor Series.
I think it was at Survivor Series, actually.
So it wasn't at Survivor Series, because Survivor Series was when Team Authority lost to Team Cena.
Was it?
Team Cena, John Cena was the only person who could bring them back. And so I think it was in January when Seth Rollins was...
Correct.
Got
Correct.
Edge, like, he had him, like, down and said, listen, I'll cripple this man if you don't bring back the Authority.
Yeah, I remember.
Wow, beautiful. But, the same thing. Obviously, they couldn't go ahead and do the fuck it, do it anyways thing, because this was still, like, 2-3 years after Edge's initial retirement. He wasn't even close to being cleared for something like that.
Right.
But I like how they did it last night. As soon as Edge said, I quit, me and Chewie looked at each other, we're like, she's gonna fucking do it anyways. And she did. I'm like, yes. So yes. 4 stars for me. I thought after it picked up, it was one of the best I Quit matches we've ever seen. especially with the way it ended. And Judgment Day is finally a legitimate faction.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.5.
I'm giving it a 4.25, and I love the fact that we finally had Dominic attack his dad.
Yeah.
Like, I love that they threw that in there. That was the first time he actually hit him.
Right.
And it just...
The one thing that bothered me, Ray didn't really take much of a beating, but he was down for the rest of the match. That bothered me a little bit, but not enough to nitpick that much into it. But it was just a little bit of an annoyance.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Give it the shock and awe factor that he was just shocked that his son beat him up, maybe.
They could have played on that, like with a camera shot of his face, just like this or something like that, not knowing what to do.
Like trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Because Ray's reluctance to hit his own child has been an awesome story that they're telling.
Mm-hmm.
And Rey Mysterio is the guy that if you put your hands on Rey Mysterio, the crowd's going to give you heat for it.
I'm curious as to what's going to happen tomorrow night with that. To see if Ray actually attacks Dom.
Child protection service calling on Ray. That's why he hasn't hit him yet.
Can you imagine the pop he gets when he finally hits his son?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a huge fucking pop.
And now we have the main event. The fight pit.
Before we get completely...
I love the...
get completely into it, I feel like it fell flat.
It looked like Seth Rollins wasn't trying very hard. I don't think he liked being in there.
And I can guarantee you it's probably because he lost.
Yeah, I know it's definitely weighing on him that he's not winning these big matches. I think he should have won, personally.
You just choreographed the match for tomorrow night. You just let everybody know that he's not winning tomorrow night.
Right.
How do you have him lose a match like that 2 days before he's trying for the U.S. title?
Right. And make him tap out, too. Like, I feel like a TKO would have worked better, honestly.
Like, not even tap out, just get knocked out. Like...
I wouldn't go to TKO because that's a callback to worst Hell in a Cell match.
Well, that wasn't labeled. That was
that was a no contest.
Didn't they DQ him technically?
No, it was a ref stoppage. That was just a ref stoppage, is what they labeled that as.
Let's not talk about that match tonight.
No.
Seth just doesn't have good luck with Bray Wyatt in the cage, so the wrestling was fine because Seth could wrestle a good match in his sleep. He's that good. The sets, what am I looking for?
The scaffolding.
Oh my god, the spots, Jesus Christ. The spots that were on the top, walk around that they had there, I thought were way too calculated and didn't look like, it looked like they were more concerned, which I get, they were more concerned about not falling, which, again, I get. So I feel like it's a kind of a hampering situation where they don't really have much freedom with that walk around. Seth is definitely out of his element without ropes and turnbuckles, though.
He needs them. Yep.
He needs the ropes and turnbuckles because he is a fast worker, and he is he's a ring general. He's the guy that sets that pace,
Mm-hmm.
and takes command of whatever match he's in. And I feel like they were crippled by it, and I don't know if Seth was the right guy to be in the fight pit with Matt Riddle. It should be someone who's a brawler, like Sheamus. Eventually, could be a fight pit guy. Gunther, obviously. Pete Dunne versus Matt Riddle would be amazing. These brawling guys, you know what I'm talking about? It's a fight pit, not a wrestle pit. And Seth Rollins is a wrestler. He's not a fighter. So
I think I could see Kevin Owens being in there.
Oh yeah, because he's a brawler. He's a fighter.
That would be a good fit. And I agree, Nightmare. That buckle bomb that he did at the top, that did look... it looked like it could be bad.
Yeah, look, if he was like this close to the edge with his foot, so I was like, had his knee buckled, and he fell, both of those men would have been done for. But the match kind of fell flat for me. Daniel Cormier didn't bother me too much. I liked the arguing he did with Seth a little bit, though, but obviously it didn't really lead anywhere.
Well,
The
he-
part where he had Seth up against the cage and said, "Don't put your hands on me." Listen, I know Daniel Cormier doesn't look like he's in the best shape, but he could still probably whoop the shit out of Seth Rollins.
I like that he did it with both of them too. Like he didn't just
Right.
do it with Seth, and then after that they both didn't touch him. Like so, it's like he set the boundaries, did everything.
And I think they overtold the story of Seth Rollins not understanding the rules fully.
Right.
That little back and forth with him and Cormier went a little bit too long. It should have just been like once or twice and him getting frustrated. But I digress. I would say overall that match was probably a 3.
I love the spot off the top by Riddle.
Which one? The floating bro that missed?
What do you mean missed?
Oh, he missed. He
He
landed on
missed.
a tailbone
Go
on the
back and
mat.
watch it.
I think that's why the match ended so abruptly after that. I think he's hurt.
He missed it by just an inch or two, but he missed it.
Yeah, he did.
So what? His ass is supposed to land on Seth?
Yeah. Seth was getting ready to catch him, too. Like, Seth had his arms up. And he missed.
I don't know. I feel like Seth broke some ribs on that one.
Well, I'm sure they both caught something there,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like,
Because Riddle's arms definitely
Riddle-
landed on him. It's like he landed
Right.
on, like, a chair, almost. But
Mhm.
missed the chair part. And just... Yeah.
I think Riddle was scared to do it from that height per se, to land on somebody because he's never done it in a fight that done the floating bro up top.
Right.
At least to my knowledge, but
The top of the
like,
cage,
in
the
that
top of the cage spot should have went to Seth.
yeah, with a frog splash or something.
Or, like, even just a crossbody, because he did that. The match they had with Evolution, he did it off the top of the fucking Jumbotron.
Right.
But I'm going to give this match a 3 as well. And I know the only reason it main evented is because of everything that's attached to the fight pit, and they had to take down the ropes and everything else. Because it wouldn't make sense to have like a nice 10-minute break after a match to redo everything.
Moxley would absolutely be a fight pit guy, you're right.
I haven't seen him in a couple weeks either.
I think he's getting back to his old self.
I wonder if he's going to come back
Who's that?
Tommaso Ciampa. I wonder if he's going to come back and actually attack the Miz.
I'd be okay with it.
Well, I mean, even Miz made reference to him in this too, so
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a repackage to bring back Kurt.
Speaking of the Miz, I love the interaction with Gritty.
And Dexter, oh my god, that was amazing. Great way to pop the crowd. Great way to keep that story going and not overexpose it.
Mm-hmm. I really thought Dexter was in the Gritty costume. That's what I thought.
And I mean, that's exactly what they wanted us to think, too.
Yep.
Because I was like, that's probably Dexter. And then as soon as he started beating him up, I'm like, no, that's not Dexter. Dexter's going to be behind him now.
And then Gritty got to
Gritty.
kick him. It was great.
Yeah, Gritty got to kick him. And kudos to The Miz, too. The dude is just... He does whatever is asked of him, and he makes whoever he's with 1,000 times better.
I just can't stand him as a heel.
Yeah.
And that's what he's supposed to... And that's why he's so good at it. Because he makes you not like him.
He's so fucking good at it. But I've seen The Miz and Miss this show like twice. He's fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious. The show is hilarious.
Wildly and funny. Like, oh my god. But I have... We could do a whole podcast on The Miz, and I hope we do at some point.
That's actually a pretty cool idea.
Because, like, literally just career
we did.
retrospectives of people, I think, would be a great idea. The Miz is someone I would really like to tackle into at some point. Giggity. But yeah, he made Bad Bunny look great. He made Logan Paul look great. I mean, Logan Paul looked great too, but he's the guy that can put over these other people and not look like a total chump doing it. He's perfect for WWE.
It's so funny because
Overall,
when he first got in there, everybody was like, "Oh, he'll never make it. He'll never do it. He'll never amount to anything." And he's been there forever. You were saying, Shadow?
my fight pit rating, because that's out there yet,
Yeah.
It's about a 3, just because of the flat ending.
Yeah. I'm glad
And,
Cormier
I
was
guess
full involved.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that confuses me too. Is now I don't understand the sense of Cormier.
Well, like I said, I feel that we were probably supposed to get something else in regards to Cormier, but I don't think this is the last we've seen him.
Right.
10 plus years. So no, Miz has been injured. He just recently, I think he tore his ACL. He was out for like 7 months. But
But he
that's
still
in the last.
does. He still performs while he's
He's still on
injured.
TV every now and again. Still during that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he
over
won't.
the
He
last
won't leave.
what 2007, I think he debuted. He's been here for 15 years, and that's the only significant time he's missed, unless he went to film a movie, and even then, 6 weeks he was gone.
2006.
Yeah.
2006. So 16 years. The dude's barely missed any time.
Well,
Legendary.
this has been a great podcast, guys. It's been fun. I don't think we're missing anything tonight. I think that's about it.
You want to throw up the logo and just call it a night?
Psych.
Now we get into the fun. now we get to the fun of the night that everybody's anticipation was on edge about.
Shadow, he's your boy. You go first, man.
Well, first and foremost, I cried. Like I had tears in my eyes. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That man is my all-time favorite. I don't care what era. He's my all-time favorite. I love his creative mind. Yeah, he might not be the strongest wrestler, but holy fuck, can he tell a story? And the way I don't even want to say the way he presented himself last night was just, you had all of and so many people are saying, oh, this is going to continue. I do not think we're going to see any more of the puppets. I think that was a one-off for presentation to feed into his character development, into what he is now. I love the tribute to Brody Lee in the entrance. It was huge for me. I like the callback to the cult leader Bray with the lantern, because it was the lantern. It wasn't the head. It was the lantern. And I like how he's saying he's got the whole world. That's just perfect. And there was no theme music, so we don't know what he's coming out to anymore. New mask, which Scallops pointed out to me, is reminiscent of when he first got released. It was tweeting cryptic faces. So overall, I might not be showing it now because I'm coming down from the hype, but holy hell, it was. My heart was just going. Like, he's back, and I can't wait to see where this goes.
I 100% agree. The thing with Bray Wyatt is you can see it whenever you see him. His brain goes 150 miles an hour. The dude is always thinking. He's always thinking of the next step, what's coming next. You know that whatever he's doing, he's got a plan, and he knows what he's going to do next. He's not the kind of guy who survives in a short booking type of world like Vince McMahon. Which is why I think we're about to get the best incarnation of this man that we've ever had. I think he and Triple H are going to work together for long-term booking purposes. Because honestly, everyone complained about how long that feud with Randy Orton went. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, he shouldn't have lost that match against Randy at WrestleMania, but the rest of that feud was just fantastic. So, the guy is arguably the most creative mind in the business. Maybe next to Paul Heyman. But the guy he has the potential. I was talking to Shadow about this yesterday. He has the potential to be not the next Undertaker. He has the potential to surpass the Undertaker. He's better in the ring than Undertaker is. I know people are going to hate on me for that. He is. He's better than him. He's better on a microphone. He's way better on a microphone than Undertaker ever was. And I think he is less of a yes man than Undertaker is, because let's face it, Undertaker was a yes man for Vince. He was. I think Bray Wyatt's creative mind is going to allow him the freedom to blossom into potentially the greatest. I don't want to say supernatural, because we don't know if it's going to be a supernatural thing or not. But that dark, eerie, twisted kind of character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We lost Shadow.
I know. We lost him. I don't know if he left the chat or he just turned off his camera. Nope. We lost him. There he is.
There we go.
Oh, man. Last night was just... When that little logo hit in the bottom left corner, I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. They're not doing anything. And then the lights went out, and Cole goes, are we still live? Can someone tell me if we're live? I was like, perfect touch. Like, that was it. And then he didn't talk. And he just let everything happen. The Fireflies all light their phones for the torches. The whole arena is black except for that. And it just was perfect. Because all of a sudden you hear he's got the whole world in his hands from Bray. And Bray said it all.
Yep.
And I honestly have watched the video probably about 25 times today. Like, I cannot stop watching it.
And our guy Tyler said, I asked him this too. I was like, because the show went off the air like that after he took his mask off. It was done. I was like, how loud was that crowd afterwards? He goes, they left the lights off for about 5 minutes, and it was loud and just people yelling and screaming and cheering for about 5 minutes, and then the lights came on, and then everyone left. Like, that's ridiculous.
So, Top Dollar posted something 24 minutes ago. He posted the video. And he said that the crowd was so loud, you couldn't hear anything he said at all. Like, I could barely hear him on TV what he was saying.
Right, and the camera was right in his fucking face.
And you still couldn't hear him. That's how loud that crowd was.
Yep. And...
Like...
The thing about Bray Wyatt is, and again, whenever he's on TV, whenever he's in front of a camera, everyone in that arena and everyone who's watching, everyone, he literally does hold the whole world in his hands. He has got them in the palm of his fucking hands. And they are just eating out of it. He is a master.
There was so many little things that I was trying to watch and see. Like, who were the puppets yesterday? Do we know who they were?
Right. Are they important?
Are they important? Is the Firefly Funhouse coming back? Was it just starting up again? Is that why the music was that way? Or is it showing the remembrance of and it died? Like, we don't know.
I love that little touch though, like it hasn't been touched in a year and a half.
Right.
So
it was covered in cobwebs.
Puppets are dead.
Did the puppets escape? Is that why the puppets are dead in the Funhouse? Like, what's been going on for the year and a half that he was gone? Hopefully we get answers tomorrow night. But
I saw another theory. Did he trap the souls of other wrestlers in the puppets and they broke free?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen so many different theories,
So,
and that's the best thing because we don't know.
Who I think played them last night is different than who's going to play them going forward if there are characters.
Right. Do you think they were just stand-ins?
Well, I think last night, Braun Breaker was one of them. Because he was there. I think Bo Dallas was one of them. I think Joe Gacy was one of them.
Gee, which one?
And I think Nikita Lyons was one of them. And I think Dexter was the other one. But I don't think that's what it's going to be going forward. And I may be wrong on who they could have been.
Right.
But
So I don't know about it though. Like,
if
I
they
don't know.
do this, I honestly think Boba's going to take over the Fiend. You're going to have Gacy B. Huskus. The one person from the dyad is going to be Mercy, the tall, skinny one. The other one is taking over as Ramblin' Rabbit, and I don't know who would be. I think that's it. And then I think you're going to have Alexa as Abigail.
So
Sorry, go ahead, Chad.
last night via Wrestle Talk, we had this conversation, and I don't know who the characters of who's what, whatever. But when it came down to Abby the Witch, we feel because Abby the Witch and Sister Abigail are two different entities. They've always been.
Right.
And my feeling behind it, and I think a couple of people agree, is we're going to get Liv Morgan as Abby and Alexa as Sister Abigail.
And that's just assuming these characters are going to be permanent fixtures.
Right. Like, again, I'm still very sold on the idea that it was more of a presentation thing than it was a storyline going forward.
And I mean, I don't think there's any definitiveness behind any of it, and I love that. It's going to keep us guessing. People are going to debate and talk about it over and over and over until things actually happen. And that is beauty. It's perfect. I love the unpredictability of it. That's what pro wrestling has been missing for so long.
So, my only thing with that is, with Abby, why use the same veil that Alexa used during the swamp match? And why have two women's titles next to her if it was not an Easter egg?
I'm still shitting on you about that the titles are just coincidence.
They would not have allowed it to be there if it was a coincidence, Shadow.
Maybe not.
That's my thing is Bray plans these things down to a T.
But we also don't know if those are the Raw and SmackDown women titles or those could be the tag team titles again, which sets up Liv and Alexa to play the two characters I said. Because if it's the tag titles, having Alexa and Liv be these entities, take them off Kai and Sky.
I mean, Sky already look weak as it is.
But I don't think Liv and Alexa would make them look as weak. I think they'd strongly put them over in a loss. Because they're both, at least Alexa, out of the three of them, okay, two of them, is a strong worker.
They already teased the team up with Liv and Alexa too, like just recently.
Right. So it's not a far-fetched idea.
And Alexa is one of those people who, again, this is another person I'd like to do a career retrospective on. She makes anything work. Anything.
Not to mention, she tweeted out last night as soon as Bray came back, "Hello, old friend." And then you have
"Hello, darkness, my old friend." That would have been awesome.
Oh, that would have been such a great.
We're speculating on characters. You know who likes to ramble on and on and on and on? Seth Rollins.
I don't think it would make sense. But I don't think it would make sense to take him and put him behind a costume.
After the riddle right now.
Well, he's fighting for the U.S. title tomorrow.
Okay, but that could just be anything just to throw a match in for Seth.
He's not going to win either because Bobby Lashley is just on an absolute roll.
But I wouldn't mind because Seth's got a great mind too, and he is on record saying he'd love to work with Wyndham. He never said in what context.
Right. And the thing is, the two of them they both got fucked by that Hell in a Cell match.
Mhm.
Both of them did. Seth
Right.
Rollins was on a red-hot babyface run. Bray Wyatt was just still in the infancy of his Fiend character. That match just crushed almost pretty much any momentum the Fiend had, and it just kept floundering. And then his loss to Goldberg, and and then his loss to Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
See,
I'm hoping what we get is something similar to Carrion, where Triple H is like, okay, this happened, but how about we rebuild it to the way it's supposed to be?
I think he should. I mean, aside from the Randy Orton one, because Randy Orton is injured and we don't know when he's going to be back or if he's going to be back. I think he needs to retcon all that stuff. Not necessarily, not retcon, but avenge, I guess. Right those wrongs. I think he should. I think because Goldberg says he's going to work another match. Have him
so
against Bray, have Bray just obliterate him.
I think
Wash the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why his first target is going to be Alexa. To get her back for what she did in costing him that match. Like I don't think it's against Randy because it's not his fault. I think it's more of Alexa turning on him and betraying him.
Although the visual was cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Alexa Bliss with the blood running down her face or the black goo, whatever it was. Cool.
I think it meant to
hell.
represent blood. It was just, because she's a dead soul that is just black.
Right, it's just black goo. Still creepy as all hell, and I just hate that Randy Orton won that match because he's now 2-0 against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania.
Right.
Yeah, we kind of forget the first one though.
And Bray has taken some significant losses to superstars.
At WrestleMania and everywhere.
You have Cena, Orton, Taker,
Orton again.
Right, but what I mean is just those names. These are guys that should be putting over Bray in this situation. Okay, maybe not Cena when it happened because I was still cult leader Bray, but going forward, it didn't make sense to have what we thought was going to be a passing of the torch from Taker to Wyatt, which never happened. Which is really odd for Taker because Taker doesn't mind putting over talent.
Well, that was all Vince with not wanting him to lose and then changing his mind when he fought Brock.
Right.
Because he wanted the shock factor for that one.
When it comes to Wyndham, I am genuinely just along for the ride. I am not going to speculate on where this is going. I'm not going to try to.
Because we don't know. We don't know. And that's what's great.
I didn't know. I don't want to know.
I'm absolutely stoked that he's back. And I can't fucking wait to see what he's going to do. That's it. I'm excited.
I truly think tomorrow night on Raw, we're going to see him target Triple H.
So mad.
Well, I told you to go. Obviously, schedules didn't line up. I understand.
I was buying tickets last week until I noticed that schedule on the calendar.
But I think he targets Triple H tomorrow. I think the obvious thing is he goes after Roman. Because Roman's going to be there.
No, not.
But for the most part, most people believe that's what's going to happen. But I don't think that's the right move right now.
I don't think he needs to go after Roman, at least not right away. He could probably be the guy who takes the title off of Roman after Mania if they're really insistent on doing that.
I really don't want Bray to hold the title.
Yeah, he doesn't need the title.
He doesn't need it.
I'm just saying, if he does, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
Right, but then let's put this in perspective for a second. Yeah. Because we're all in agreement that he doesn't need it. Let's say, okay, he gets the title. You have to book him as you booked Roman for the last 2 years. And you can't do that because you want to build other superstars. Roman, I respect the body of work that Roman's doing right now. But Roman is putting a cuckold, if you will, on the championship.
A Jim Cornette hold?
You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing against Roman. It's nothing against Triple H. It's just the spot they've both been put in where you have to build these superstars up. But like, everybody and their grandmother can tell you Roman ain't losing to Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. You know what I'm saying? But he's not losing to them. There's no reason for us to believe. But with Wyndham, I could see what I could honestly is happening in the next. We're going into November. So just before or just after Mania, I could see him, like you had said, Nate, Bray and Roman kind of feuding. But Bray is not going to win. That's fine. But Bray is going to fuck up Roman's head so much that it's going to make him start slipping. And superstars are going to start getting pins over him. And it's going to start kind of on the downward spiral without being on a downward spiral.
Right, well, the Usos just got pinned on Friday night for the first time in fucking who knows how long. I think that might be a start into some kind of rift.
Of the cracks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's starting with Jay. And
he's definitely the guy who's going to...
I think he's going
to bring down the bloodline.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be the one to take the belt off of Roman.
I wouldn't be upset about that, actually. Because we know Jey Uso can thrive in a main event spot. We know that.
Yep.
Him and Roman had a fucking amazing feud together. And
the New Day also referenced that the other night by saying you went from main event Jey to what?
Uh-huh.
Right. And Logan Paul called him out. Like,
yeah, Logan Paul said I can't tell the difference.
It was awesome on Monday. It was short and sweet, and it got the bloodline. It got the wheels in motion.
Sammy is hilarious.
Sammy getting Roman to break the character of Roman was amazing.
Sammy broke Roman Reigns. It was
funny.
And
the last time Roman broke character was when he fought KO at a house show. So the last two people to get Roman to break character was Sammy and KO.
Yep. And I think I've also noticed that Roman definitely knows that his wink from SummerSlam went viral because he's been doing it.
when he just stuck his hand out and caught the mic.
Yep.
Since we've now started the Wyndham conversation, I want to start talking a little bit about. I'm skipping the next pay-per-view because that one is just a throwaway for the market.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know because Triple H is different. We don't know how he's going to treat this one.
Okay. Fair, but I want to talk about War Games coming up. Just a brief conversation. I was sold on the fact that we were going to get the bloodline for somebody in that match. After what happened last night at Extreme Rules, I think it's going to be Judgment Day with Rhea versus Bray, Edge, Beth, and AJ.
My only question is, how are they going to tie Bray Wyatt into that?
Did you say Bray or Ray?
No, Ray.
Okay.
Not Bray. Ray.
I thought he said Bray too. So I was a little confused.
Ray, as in Rey Mysterio.
Okay, so that makes sense. I like the mixed gender concept, but they also advertised it as a men's war games and a women's war games. So I don't know.
Right, you're still gonna get your women's war games, but like, I think that's what might happen. And then your traditional Survivor Series 5-on-5, you have Jimmy, Jay, Reigns, Sammy, Solo versus like Gargano, Ciampa, KO. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Seth.
That would be a banger 5v5 match in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I love that we have no idea. I love it.
Y'all gonna kill me, and this is gonna kill me to say, but if they keep Bray Wyatt off TV until Survivor Series, I'm fine with that.
Why would I kill you for that? It makes us want him more. He's gonna. He's gonna. He's gonna do something tomorrow night.
It was revealed.
Right. The thing is, after that match to Orton and he disappeared, and all those mass releases were coming, I feel like a lot of us kind of saw the release coming. We just didn't want it to happen. Because, like, when it happened, I remember being pissed and devastated, but I'm like, I mean, saw that coming.
Bray saw it coming.
Well, here's something for you that's interesting, man. Usually when a superstar comes back, we usually get a sign that they've re-signed, correct?
Right.
I don't think Bray ever got released.
He had to because they're publicly traded. So they had it's in the financials of the contracts.
Right, but I don't mean released as in the sense of like he wasn't gone from the company. I think there was a handshake agreement somewhere that said, okay, you can take some time, do what your family stuff.
I agree with.
When we're ready, we'll work this out.
Here's conspiracy theorist Nate coming out. I usually don't like to go into conspiracy theories. I think Triple H knew this was coming. I think he knew Vince was in hot water. I think he knew that he was eventually going to have to back away. And I think that's why Triple H and Steph backed away for a while. Because they're like, this is going to explode. When it does, they're going to call us and bring us back. Obviously, Triple H had that heart thing that happened, and I'm glad that he's okay with that. But he was gone before that happened. So, conspiracy theorist side of me says they knew that Vince was going to be out the door. So there might have been some kind of handshake agreement between Hunter and Bray, like, hey, if you need to go for a while, go for a while. We can say it's from these budget cuts that we've been doing. And we'll give you a call when we're ready for you, if you're ready. And I definitely see that.
The reason why I believe that there was a handshake agreement or some kind of agreement back behind the scenes, everybody that's got released, it doesn't matter if they went to AEW, they got released, they went to TNA, or whatever the hell they did. Everybody spoke about what happened. Bray never once shit on WWE. Not once did he attack any of them.
He made no public appearances.
He made public appearances towards the latter half of this year. He started doing signings again.
He did a couple signings last holiday season too, I thought, because we had the chance. I remember for the one.
Yeah. There was
very posting on Twitter since he got released.
Yeah, he's very cryptic.
I think in total he did 4 signings since his release.
That's barely any, but yeah.
So I truly believe that there was some kind of agreement, whether it's papered, handshake, however you want to look at it. Because, let's be realistic, Wyndham knows his value.
Oh, yeah.
He could have easily said, hey, Tony, I'm coming. And shown up and ran the table of AEW. You can't tell me Tony Khan was not like, how are they going to release their biggest, most over superstar and us not try to attach that name to us?
Right. And
because you have to look.
No idea what to do with him, which they wouldn't.
Right. But you'd have to assume Nick, Matt, Kenny, and at the time, Cody would have been like, he's working. Get him here. But nobody attempted. But nobody from AEW attempted to get Wyndham. So there's something behind the scenes that happened for them not to go after him.
Notice he's going by the Wyndham name Wyndham instead of using Bray. So, all the videos that have come out from WWE's official pages have called him Bray Wyatt. So, I don't know if he's going to be changing his name or not to Wyndham. I think Wyndham was something that he just changed it to because, well, first of all, that's his name.
That's his name, yeah.
And second of all, I think it distanced him from WWE while he was gone. I think he stays as Bray Wyatt because even when he was The Fiend, we still called him, he was still Bray Wyatt. He was The Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
Right. And Bray is very biblical and theatrical. So he looks at this all as the world is a stage and we are mere actors.
Right.
That's his approach.
Yeah, I do think we keep the Bray Wyatt name, though.
Well, me and Scales were talking about this before we went and you jumped in here. There's no Bray, no Wyndham, no Fiend on WWE roster. There's no in the WWE shop. There's no mention of him yet. So we really don't know what name he is going with. Because if it was going by Bray, that merch and everything would already be back up.
Probably, yeah. I mean, they do have the White Rabbit merch.
Right, they still have that. Yeah, I think Bo Dallas was already there last night. I think he was. I think he was the Fiend. I think he was dressed as the Fiend.
You know what? I would absolutely fucking love Bo Dallas to be back.
He's coming back. It was reported today that he's on his way back.
Rotunda back in WWE, I feel would be great.
And he was such a good worker. Triple H loved him.
Bo Dallas was an incredible worker, and he got saddled. You know what? I liked the Bo Leave gimmick. I did. It was funny, but they did nothing with him
On the main roster, right?
on the main roster.
Well,
Except for the B team, which was awesome.
Which was
but
5
towards
years
the
down
end-
the road.
But towards the end of his WWE run at the time, you could see maybe there was something stirring between him and Wyndham because the beard started growing.
Mm-hmm.
He never grown the beard at all, ever.
And
Whether
that
it be
was
NXT.
discipline from Bray.
Right. But, like, you know he's a Triple H guy because Triple H put the NXT title on him. Like, he's somebody Triple H truly trusts. Like,
And it's not like they're stepbrothers or half brothers. They're full-blooded brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like
right. They are IRS's son.
each other on a daily basis. Like, I bet Bray had this idea and was like, "Yo, come back with me. Let's do this." Because Bo Dallas has not been wrestling. He's been at home working a farm.
I really would not be surprised if IRS comes back to WWE in a production role now. Because
Oh yeah.
I know there was a lot of heat between, I don't remember IRS's actual name. So
Mike
hard-
Rotunda.
Mike. I knew it was something with an F, but
Erwin R. Shyster, man.
right.
Is it Mike or is it Mika?
I think it's Mike. I think it's actually Michael. I think it's Michael Rotunda.
I thought there was because
But
I
know
saw.
that Mike Rotunda and Triple H, Vince McMahon had some heat once Wyndham was released, and Mike was not happy about it. Understandably, it's his son,
Don't blame
but he didn't understand it from a business point. He put his bias aside and said, "What the hell are you doing?" And
Well-
within 3 months, Mike was gone. Like,
If
he
the
questioned
report-
Vince McMahon and he got thrown out.
Right. If the rumors that I've read are true, Vince greenlit the release because he was done with Bray Wyatt. They bumped heads too many times over Bray Wyatt's creative process.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince's
I don't
lack
blame.
of-
I do not blame Wyndham for being protective of his character.
Absolutely
Because
not. It's his
how do
baby,
you-
his concept.
How are you gonna sit there and cater to Taker and babying his character, but you have a guy who's Taker-esque, ready to take this generation and give us a Taker
Right.
for this generation, and not let him baby it and nurture it the way he wants?
Right. Absolutely.
Yes, you can have a lot of final say, but why
Why?
treat one different?
Why not let him run with it since it's clearly over and it was his brainchild? Like, I don't understand the idea that Vince thinks something getting over is a bad thing, but we've seen it happen many times where something gets over and it gets nixed. Perfect example, Bad News Barrett. Dude was over as fuck and Vince nixed it because he didn't like it.
Rusev Day.
Rusev Day. They gave him a WWE title match against AJ Styles to shut the fans up, and then it was back to the mid card and
Kofi Mania.
Kofi Mania.
Oh,
But,
Don't-
he'll
don't
throw
bring
him
that
over
up.
The audience and then rip it away from him.
a lot of superstars are very happy that Bray is back. Like
He's the dude's a locker room leader.
Mickey James
I've never heard
posted,
anybody. Go
And-
ahead.
and she's like, "I'm obsessed with Bray Wyatt's return. She can't stop watching it." The reaction alone tells you everything you need to know. More than a superstar. More than over. Damn near legendary.
They're happy that the human being is back. And
But
because he has a love of this business that not a lot of people have, to at least to that level.
how many people on like let's put our bias aside for the love of Wyndham Bray. How many people thought once he was released that WWE was fucked and he was going elsewhere? Be realistic.
I did.
Everybody.
I thought he would end up in Impact.
I did as well. And I think me and Scouts have had endless conversations about this. We have a podcast about it about a year ago. But I truly believed that he was going to take off. But as time goes on, you start to realize he is a WWE born wrestler. He is raised within this company. He calls it home. He holds it sacred to his heart. I think he feels in his heart of hearts, I could be wrong because I've never had a conversation with the man, if he went anywhere but home, I think he would have felt comfortable.
I do think he would have thrived in Impact because I think Impact is it's underrated, honestly. I think he would have done well there. I thought he would have brought a lot more eyes to Impact, but I think at the end of the day, your point is 100% accurate. He'd be out of his element anywhere else but the WWE. Like, it's one thing to have a boss who says no to all your creative ideas, but it'd be another thing to have him say yes to everything you throw at the wall. I think that's worse, honestly, and that would be Tony Khan. Tony Khan would be like, yeah, fucking do it. And then it would some of that stuff probably is going to fall flat. Especially with Tony Khan's kind of nonchalant way of booking, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I also think that Bray Wyatt is a lot like so hear me out on this. I think he's a lot like an Adam Page title. Adam Page is very well liked in the back locker room. He does not get into arguments. He's not confrontational. He is not. He's just the nicest guy to approach and have a conversation with, and that's every report I've ever read about Hangman Page says that exact same thing. Bray Wyatt seems like that exact type where he's just an approachable guy. You can talk to him, have a conversation with him, pick his brain, and he would love every second of it.
Right. I've never heard these publicly, and I've not read anywhere anybody shit on Bray for his backstage antics or
Never.
his politicking, if you will, or what they like to call it. I don't think Bray has ever gone into business for himself. I think Bray has gone into the business thinking, how can we turn this product into something that's beloved?
Right.
And if it's not beloved, how do we get it over so that it's nuclear heat?
Right. He's not a and I think that's part of the reason why if there's going to be characters that he's bringing characters in, it's because he's not in this for himself. He's in it because he loves it. He's in it because he likes to entertain people and he wants his creative ideas to be broadcast, to be seen. And he deserves that because he has got one of the best minds we've ever seen. Like, the dude is just I don't know where it comes from because IRS was not that creative. Let's be real.
I mean, we don't know that because when IRS was around, he was in the gimmick era where the working man was the gimmick.
That's true. Yeah, I just my train of thought. Continue.
It was just so
ahead,
good.
Matt.
It was just so good. Like,
oh yeah, sorry.
good. Nope, you remembered.
I was gonna say, the thing that we've seen it before. Like when he won the title in the Elimination Chamber, and the fans were chanting, "You deserve it." You could see it in his face how much he loved that. Last night, look in the man's eyes after he took his mask off. The dude was holding back tears. Like,
what did I say to you earlier today, Shadow? I don't know how the man kept a
And
straight
that's what I'm saying,
face
too. I don't get it.
during that. Like, I
But then
don't
again,
know
that
how
goes back
he did.
That goes back to his the world is but a stage and we are mere actor mindset. He has to stay in character, but it's hitting him hard.
And that's why I think he didn't have much time after he took that mask off. He took the mask off. He said what he had to say, and then he blew out the lantern, and then that was it. And then he lost it.
He went off stage.
Yep.
Like, he was gone. Like, I bet he went back in Gorilla and balled.
I hope we get a 24 special on him or something, and we get to see. I don't think we will because of the character build-esque of him, but I would love to see the backstage behind that name.
Breaks the walls of kayfabe break down. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility that it would happen.
And
I would love to see it.
Kanye, in regards to Cody and Bray, don't forget the history they have with Cody and Husky.
Kane, isn't it? It's Kane, isn't it?
Well, it says
Kanye.
It says Kanye.
Kanye. Kane. Yeah.
Don't forget there was the history between Cody and Husky Harris in NXT.
Right.
I remember after Nightmare, real quick. You're right. I've never been so mad as I was the day that Bray got released. After Bray got released, I actually stopped watching for a while, like probably 2 or 3 months before I picked it up again. And even then, I wasn't back into it. I didn't really think I really got back into it until WrestleMania in front of a crowd last year. Like,
I think Scals can attest to this, but I was super pissed. I know Scals was, but I was super pissed. Like I just did not let it go. Like I was obsessing over the fact that they did this. And I was trying to figure out why and this and that. Like you can talk to Laura as well, and Laura will tell you now. I obsessed over this, and then it wasn't up until Mania this year, Scals, where I finally just said, okay, I'm done trying to get him to come back and see where he comes back. Right. Because it's taken so much energy out of me. Like I said, like I don't joke around with this. I believe in my heart of hearts that he's better than any wrestler I've ever watched in my life. And that's not everybody's opinion, that's fine. But to me, that Bray Wyatt is my first face on Mount Rushmore.
I can't fault you for that.
He's a big builded dude, okay? Like I'm a big guy, so I kind of gravitate towards guys that are athletically like that, but like my size. Like this is a guy that you've seen some of the work I've done creatively with my editing and all that. I'm not as creative as Bray, but you know, it's another guy that's creative. Like I feel drawn to the man, whether it's mentally watching him storytell. Like I just feel an actual. I've never met him, and I can say that this man is like a god to me in a sense.
Right. Nightmare. Unpopular opinion. Bray should have ended the streak. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
No, I think we all agree that he should have.
The only issue with that is the year before they put Undertaker with Brock, and as the match got closer, you're starting to think, how does Undertaker realistically beat Brock Lesnar? So they kind of booked themselves into a corner with that. Like, and the only way that I thought was Undertaker could have hit a low blow when the ref wasn't looking out of desperation because he couldn't beat him. And then we're like, oh, Undertaker can actually possibly be beat at WrestleMania. And then Bray Wyatt does it the next year. I think we could have still gotten the same story told out of Brock Lesnar beating the piss out of Cena at SummerSlam that year. I think we still could have gotten that. I fantasy book in my head how things could have gone, but the fact of the matter is they booked themselves into a corner with Brock Lesnar, and the only way they saw out was the shock factor. Because realistically, Brock Lesnar beats Undertaker 10 times out of 10.
So, this is just something when we look back on the year of 2022, there's 3 names, in my opinion, that are going to go down as the 3 greatest works of this year. Cody Rhodes, MJF, and Bray Wyatt. Those are the 3 names that you're going to look back on the year of 2022 and be like, holy fuck, they did amazing work.
And they were all done differently, too. So, like, the thing with Cody is, Cody was still openly supporting AEW, and he still does. Like, the only thing we got with that was dirt sheets. There was nothing from Tony Khan, nothing from Vince, just totally quiet. And they just started drip feeding us these little hints on WWE. Like, they'd say the word nightmare after something that Seth Rollins did. Seth Rollins is in a nightmare because he couldn't get a WrestleMania match or something like that. And they just fed us these little hints. That was it. We didn't get anything else. So, yes, we knew it was Cody, but at the same time, we didn't. And MJF, he played us like a fiddle. Like, dude disappeared, and obviously they were probably hoping he'd come back and feud with CM Punk, but other things got in the way there. I think the pivot into Moxley was I thought they did great with that, personally. Again, MJF was radio silent that entire time. Just radio silent. Nothing from Khan, nothing from MJF. And then the Devil reveal just happened in one night. Thought it was great. And then this one, we got to play a game. Bray Wyatt was playing a game with us for the last 2 months. Well, arguably, I guess you could say for the last year and a half, because, there's cryptic tweeting, but this White Rabbit thing just kind of came out of nowhere, and there was no guarantee it was going to get off the ground, because what if no one noticed? What if no one saw this QR code, or what if no one, there was no guarantee this was going to work. But once it did, it caught fire. And even up until the reveal, we were not 100% sure that it was Bray Wyatt, because I heard people saying, oh, it could be Gacy, it could be Baron Corbin, people were realistically...
It could have been Aleister Black.
People were saying so many different names that you're like, maybe it's not Bray Wyatt. So that little bit of doubt was always there for Bray Wyatt. I don't think we had that with Cody and MJF.
I think Steve touched on it perfectly earlier. They left you believing, but knowing who it was.
Right.
And with the test, and I think, and I don't know, no, you wouldn't have heard this theory yet, Skulls, but the theory was they did that whole thing. Remember when Edge had his big nets to come back?
Mm-hmm.
They did it as a test to see if the crowd and social media would pay attention and look for clues and dig for clues. Because it was almost as if a test pilot, because it wasn't shortly after the Bray stuff started coming.
Like a rough draft.
It was just can we get the attention going? And I think WWE capitalized on people in arena using their smartphones to record some weird shit going on to use it to their advantage. And the best part was they did not mention anything on TV. They sold the shit out of it.
I also think if we want to dig into this a little bit more, Dexter Lumis might have played a part in this too, with the camera angles that they used when he showed up places. I think that was maybe a test for the directors to shoot the camera over here, shoot the camera over here during this big reveal. I think maybe I'm spitballing, but I could see that being a thing.
There's just a lot. And Scals, you've been silent.
So
by means.
Taking it all in.
I'm just listening. I'm listening to everything. I'm enjoying it. I said earlier, I really wish I was going tomorrow night now. And I'm so mad that I can't.
It's in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah. And the last time...
How spoiled we've been with crowds this week? We had Worcester, Massachusetts on Friday, which is basically Boston. Boston's a great crowd.
Mm-hmm.
We had Philly last night. We get Brooklyn tomorrow night. We get New Orleans next Friday.
Yeah, it's...
incredible week.
But the Brooklyn crowd is going to be insane tomorrow night.
So Philly did fall kind of flat until the end there.
Philly, yeah.
It's kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn is wild every time they're there.
I was there when the Shield got reunited and
Nice.
they triple power bombed Braun through the
The
table.
the who said anything about rumors thing,
I don't.
that one,
That
or
was
the
the
one before Mox left.
before Mox left
Okay.
when they had when Balor got his rematch, his final rematch. Like he finally got the rematch from being injured, and they never gave it to him. And then Braun tried to cash in the money in the briefcase,
Yeah.
money in the bank.
Aw, poor Braun.
But it was I just like tomorrow night's gonna be such a good show,
Yeah, I
and
don't
it's
even
like
like. We have to get at least. I think we're gonna get at least some kind of follow up with Bray Wyatt, whether he's on screen or not. Maybe we just get a video promo, but there's got to be something.
maybe we get a funhouse.
He doesn't need to be overexposed. I think
No, 100% no.
he doesn't need to be wrestling every Monday night or Friday night,
No.
whichever show he ends up being on. But it looks like he's going to be on Raw based on it being after the Fight Pit match with those two.
If you pay attention, I'm using this as an example because it's the only one I know of right now. If you pay attention, Gargano came back in August when we were at Monday Night Raw.
In Toronto.
Over that time, he hasn't been overexposed on TV.
Mm-mm.
At least, if he is, it's backstage segments. He's had a couple matches. That's how you do proper, because it's opening up guys like Ricochet and others to have matches.
His feud with
You can
Theory has been really good too. It's
right,
not.
and you don't need it to
Oh, they
always be
fight.
in the ring.
They're fighting tomorrow night.
Yeah, finally. Like they've been building this for a couple months actually, and
They've been building it
now
too
we're
strong.
finally getting a one-on-one match between them. We've been waiting for it.
They literally built this in Toronto, where Theory came out and ran his mouth and all that.
Yeah, that was 2 months ago,
Yeah, well,
and
close to.
Gargano maybe had half an hour of screen time since then.
I think, Nate, I think you said it best the other day. How did you quote it? We're in probably the next greatest era of wrestling.
We might be entering the greatest era of professional wrestling. AEW is going to get their shit together. I do think that's going to happen. We have Triple H and Stephanie McMahon at the helm in WWE, and I don't think anything about that is a bad thing because they've been recording record profits. Budget cuts were not the reason; they were just de-bloating the roster, which not a bad idea. I don't think that's a bad idea. However, a lot of the wrong people got cut.
Well,
I think we all know that.
that was Vince.
That was Vince.
It was Vince
Yeah.
trying to rid WWE of Triple H. Honestly,
Right. With DX running the shows now, and Paul Heyman as a creative mind behind the scenes too. I think Triple H would put him as like an assistant talent or assistant creative director or something like that. So Paul Heyman, we know he has a creative mind. He's a great booker. We could be entering the next golden era of WWE, a la Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era. You know what I mean?
so
If those eras become untouchable because you can't replicate what was done.
Right. And Triple H is going to create something totally new.
you know the person that was just hired for the long-term creative booking.
The Marvel guy.
I think his name is Rob D. I think that's at least what it is on Twitter. But he used to work for Marvel. He actually approached Vince about doing a movie on The Fiend when Bray was still working with WWE.
I didn't know that.
So this guy's been interested in doing something with WWE for at least a year and a half, 2 years now.
Yeah.
And he is one of the people behind everything that happened with the White Rabbit. Like, he worked with everybody on that. Like, I think it was him and Bray that did all this together.
Right.
So I'm curious if they met each other when Bray was doing that movie with Jason Baker.
Right.
Maybe. Which
You
I
know-
still haven't even seen any trailers for or anything. It was kind of mind blowing.
Right.
I do hope we get, maybe not overexposed, but I hope maybe once a year we get some kind of cinematic match. Maybe not necessarily with Bray Wyatt, but just some kind of cinematic match. Because WWE pulled those off very well.
Yeah, the Boneyard match was great.
The Boneyard match. I enjoyed the Swamp fight.
Swamp fight was great.
Um,
Scrolling through Twitter here while you're thinking of matches, I see that Scal's already liked this, but AJ Francis, aka Top Dollar, said that, bro, I'll quote the tweet. Bro, the crowd is so loud you can't even hear what he's saying into the camera.
Yeah.
Mind you, the
Scal
mic's on the
earlier.
camera. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just seen this, right? Like,
Yep.
it's wild.
And the Money in the Bank matches when they did them both at the same time. I fucking loved that.
Oh, and in the corporate.
Corporate headquarters. The best part about either of those matches is when they were in the catering section and Otis just yells, "Hey!" And then Baron Corbin murdered Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black. He chucked him off the roof. But I love the Money in the Bank match too. That was great. But continue.
Well, I mean, we've been going on for an hour and 40 minutes already.
I'm pretty sure we did 45 minutes straight up Wyndham. So.
Yeah, that's probably about right. But there's really not much else to say. Like, it was just.
If I could just spitball something here, I think that's something that we should do the career retrospective kind of thing on people.
I wrote them down to discuss
I
that.
would say, plan it ahead of time so that we can research a little bit. I kind of like that idea.
I do too.
I can talk for days about certain people.
Yeah, I wrote down The Miz and Alexa, the ones that you mentioned earlier. So
Throw in Paul Heyman.
Hell yeah, throw in Paul Heyman. And I mean, I'm sure there'll be endless amounts of people we could talk about. But those would just be good ones to start off with, in my opinion.
Yep, I'm down with that.
Hell yeah.
If anybody has any suggestions on what they would like to see, could always leave a comment on the video. Let us know who you think we should cover.
On TikTok, feel free to give us an idea too. We're on TikTok a couple nights a week usually.
Couple. Holy fuck, they're on it last night. They go ham with the Bray Wyatt shit. But.
Oh yeah. Throw them in the comments. We'll write them down if you want us to do them. It's gonna be fun.
This has been our third video in less than a week, so hopefully we continue this momentum going forward with this. I enjoy sitting here just chit-chatting. It's good. I can't wait for tomorrow night on Raw. I cannot wait. I'm just so hyped for this. I really hope he shows up again.
Oh, yeah. But, gentlemen, it's been real, it's been fun, and it has been real fun.
Where can we find you, Nate?
So you can find me, Shadow. I'll have Shadow put it in the comments real quick. At Natemcnamara WB on TikTok. Also, our group, we have the Wrestle Bros at the Wrestle Bros on TikTok.
Matt's gonna have to do it.
Oh, sorry. We just had some merch drop that it's cross-branded with Off the Top and with myself. Check out the link in my personal bio. We have tons of stuff. We've actually had 15 sales in the last 5 days.
Nice.
I think that's incredible.
I got one right here. I got the new hat.
What's that?
I'm wearing the hat. I purchased one.
Oh yeah, he purchased that off the website. I'll definitely have to wear my own merch next time because this is just an actual regular Young Bucks t-shirt.
Well, I couldn't go away from some Bray Wyatt stuff today. So normally I throw a shirt on with my the Off the Top, but I had to wear the Bray shirt today.
Oh, I love it.
Shadow, where can we find you?
You can find me on TikTok. I'm trying not to be banned on a nightly basis at this point. That guy Shadow 91. We're usually live from, I don't know, anywhere from 11 o'clock till 3, 4 in the morning, going about nonsense. And if you're in there after midnight, it's not for the faint of heart.
I'm intoxicated.
And it's not for the faint of heart. Don't be a butthurt when we actually speak. And if I can say something, we need to stop lying to America. It's
Shadow. Do you need a snuggle?
well, apparently I do.
Do you need 24 spots?
But what about you, Skiles? Where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter, Scouts24, but we also have the Off the Top channel on YouTube. And then Shadow just made a Off the Top TikTok that we're hopefully going to get started up real soon and put stuff out there for you guys.
Little snippets of our videos and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the goal. So, right, properly.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out tonight. We hope to see you guys again soon.
Shadow will probably see you shortly.
Oh,
And we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
Peace.